I'm Mark Boris, and this is Straight Talk. Jack Della Maddalena, welcome to Straight Talk, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Flip combination. Roberts is in trouble, and that'll do it.
Are you that type of dude, like, fuck, I'm not going to stop, you have to kill me to stop?
I always look at it as I try and just push a strong pace and try and damage my opponent.
You fight what's in front of you.
I fight what's in front of me. It might be risky. I like to take the risk. If the opportunity presents itself, you've got to take it.
There's some scary people in this division, but I'm the scariest.
Jack Della Maddalena, welcome to Straight Talk, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I love Perth. Perth's one of my favourite places, one of my favourite cities in the world. I love the joint. I used to live there. One of the things, and you're a Perth boy.
Yeah.
One of the things is, you might explain to everybody, the parochialism, the way Perth people, or West Australians for that matter, sort of consider themselves different to the rest of the country. They love Australia, of course, but East versus West Coast, it's a big deal. And then when someone like you representing them, they are so much behind you. Yeah. Can you just explain that thought process of West Australians, and how did you grow up in that environment?
Yeah, well, Perth is it's a small sort of place, and it's very isolated. It's a 5-hour journey just to come to the east side. It's a quiet place, laid back, and yeah, it's a small population, but it's a nice place. We've got beautiful coastline, beautiful beaches, and the people are very chilled. And I think Western Australians are very proud of Perth. You know what?
Just along what Dana said to me this week, he said to me, "Fuck, man," he said, "you got sharks and fucking snakes and everything else that can kill you, and crocodiles and all that sort of stuff. But one of the things people don't realise is the Perth beaches, while they're beautiful, there's a lot of deaths over there from shark attacks."
Yeah.
Are Perth people, generally speaking, to me, they're the real crocodile Dundees of Australia. I mean, Sydney's like a big metropolis, we're like any other big city in the world. Perth's not. And West Australia is definitely not as a state. People in West Australia are laid back, but they're also more representative of what old school Australians were. So tough bastards, farmers, do the thing, do your job.
Yeah, Perth compared to Sydney, it's like a little country town, I'd say, in comparison. But yeah, it's a nice place, I think. Yeah, some people might look at Perth from the outskirts and not necessarily want to go there because it is like a country town. But it's when you go there and you get into the lifestyle and you get into the pace of Perth, I think people enjoy it.
Mate, so I always said it's a great place to bring kids up. It's a nice joint. And the reason I'm sort of asking you this stuff, Jack, is because I've heard you interviewed on a number of times, and people talk about the broken arm and all that sort of stuff, and you just basically say, I didn't really feel it, I didn't notice it, and adrenaline kicked in, blah, 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 and you sort of dismiss it in a very modest way. And they say, I've heard people say this guy's the toughest bastard in the UFC, and that's a big call. And I just wonder if it's sort of more to do with you being a West Australian. It's just, stuff happens, I'm sure there's blokes out there on big farms, which are probably 1 million acres, round up cattle and they fall off their horse or they get stuck in the wire on the fence or something and they cut the shit out of themselves and they just go back home and have steak and veg and they just forget about it and get back on the horse tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. That is, the mentality, just sort of get on with it. I wish I could say, my arm was excruciating pain and I had to fight through, but really I couldn't feel a thing, it really only set in after the fight. But yeah, Perth, that's sort of, it's pretty laid back, but everyone works hard, everyone's on task and they do what they need to do, and then at the end of the day they sit back and relax and have a beer. Yeah,
that was my experience when I lived there back in the 80s. I mean, I loved it. Can I just ask you about your family? Della Maddalena is an Italian-sounding surname, probably goes back a few generations.
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah.
Mum's what's mum's background?
Australia, Scott. I think mum's grandparents all born bred Australia, Scottish background. Armstrong is my mum's last name.
Armstrong, that's so mad. Of all the things to be called, Armstrong broke your arm.
Yes, Scottish name.
And your brothers and sisters, what's the deal with family?
Just the older brother, 2 years older. So it was just the two of us. And my granddad came from northern Italy. when I think he was 17, 18, just for a better life. I think he was born in 33, so it wasn't the best time in Italy. So he just sort of, looked for a better life. And I think there was a boat heading to Australia, and he thought, I think there was heaps of banana. Like they had a lot of bananas. He'd never had a banana before, so I think that sold him to come over.
It's amazing how we get family stories about, and we don't know whether it's true or bullshit, but it's a good story anyway to have. And your older brother, growing up together.
Yep.
I've read stuff where that you and he used to rip into each other in the backyard, and sort of like a typical couple of brothers playing around with each other, boxing each other and stuff like that, going toe to toe.
Yeah, always. Dad was a mad rugby fan, so he got us into rugby pretty young.
Oh, really? A rugby fan in Perth?
Right. Yeah, not very usual. Rugby union as well. Not a massive following in Perth, but there's a decent amount of rugby teams. But yeah, he just sort of pushed us in that direction from a young age, and we loved it, like the physicality of it. We were quite physical too, when we could just train with each other. So it was I loved rugby. But we would always get into it. We loved sort of watching wrestling, we liked watching boxing. We just sort of, ripped into each other.
All the combat sports.
Yeah, just for having fun, two boys. Perth, it's a quiet place, so we just spent time with each other, just pushed each other.
So, can you tell me when you first started to learn either to box or judo? I mean, what was the deal like?
It was, rugby from a young age, and then probably I think I was 11 years old. So, me and my brother really started training together. We had a tackle bag, but Dad gave us boxing gloves when we were pretty young, and we just started, rather than tackling it, playing rugby, we just started punching and kicking it, having that sort of thing. And then I think I was 12 or 13, that sort of age, we just got into a boxing gym. Just loved watching martial arts, found a boxing gym, and then just really got into it, fell in love with the sort of like the combat sports at that age.
Did you go and have amateur fights?
Never, no. I liked watching MMA, and there wasn't many MMA gyms around, but just got in there, just training with each other. I was still playing rugby pretty consistently, so it was more just to supplement the rugby, bit of extra fitness, but never got into amateur fights. Joined a MMA gym at probably 14 or 15, and then sort of just focused more on MMA.
So when was your first exposure to MMA as a competitor then? As a competitor?
In Perth, they were a bit fun. I had an amateur interclub thing maybe when I was about 16 or 17, but in Perth, at the time, there was a ban on the cage. They didn't allow the cage, and it was hard to get fights below the age of 18. So I just pretty much waited till I was 18 and then started competing.
And when did you realise this is my thing? Like, were you doing something else, by the way? Were you doing like an apprenticeship or?
No, not really. Just at school just at school at the time, just training. And then, it took me a bit I didn't really ever think this was this was my career path. It was just more enjoyment of the sport and the training.
And was it because your brother was doing it too?
Yeah, that was a big part. I saw Josh into it, and Josh, my brother, was right into it, and I just sort of went along with him, just training. And then when I saw him have a fight, then I was pretty hooked at that point.
So he had a fight first?
He had a fight before me. I think when he got to 18, he sort of had a fight, and I was just watching, My dad would always be like, Josh, he fights, and I was sort of like, well, I want to fight too. Like,
how did you get picked up by the UFC then? Just
watching MMA. I think when I was young, I loved watching WWE. My granddad was right into WWE, so I was a pretty obsessed fan with WWE. And then, I must have been that like early teens, 12, 13. I saw an MMA video, realised that WWE's sort of put it together then that like this is actually real wrestling and it actually looks more fun. So at that point, I was pretty hooked.
Did you go on a Contender series or something?
When I had 10. When I won 9 fights, basically, I got into a Contender series at the start of 2020 or the end of 2021. Got onto Contender series, which is a great opportunity.
And what's the deal? So that I don't know if it's Dana himself, but someone comes along and says, "Listen, Jack, we're going to pull you up. You're going to get in. You're in the UFC now. As a result of being really impressing us."
Yep.
What went through your head? Like, and where was this series, by the way?
It was in Las Vegas.
So
right. Basically just won a local fight, and then got into talks with the matchmakers, and they said, we don't want to put you straight into the UFC, but we've got this route. It's the Contender series in Vegas. You basically go, you fight in front of Dana, and if he thinks it's like what they promote as like the toughest job interview in the world. You go there, you just give it your all, and then if Dana thinks you got potential, then he would give you the contract.
Do you have to do an interview?
No. Oh, I got interviewed after the fight, but
By him?
Nah, it was just a media interview.
Yeah.
But it was more, he just sat there, watched the fights. I think he just bases it purely on a performance standpoint if he thinks you've got what it takes.
So what do you reckon from your point of view, from Jack's point of view, would have impressed him? Stand up, or on the ground, where were you stronger?
Well, the fight itself, it was a 3-round fight. It was mainly striking, but then there was a few times where it hit the ground. I was able to get back to my feet, and then just sort of kept pushing. I just kept pushing right up until the final bell. Even the last 10 seconds, I was just giving it all, like throwing everything but the kitchen sink at him, basically, and I think that's what he appreciated. I got stuck in some bad positions, and I was able to get out of them, and I think Dana liked that. Yeah,
so because I mean when you're being pretty modest here, but I mean when I've watched some of your, I watched you in Perth, not last year, the year before, obviously not last year. You missed out last year because you're having an operation, but we had an operation, but the year before, and your style is that you're sort of all over him. You're not letting anyone get a break.
Yeah.
You're throwing punches, whatever. You're on the whole time. That seems to be a style to me. Is that you and as a personality? I mean, are you that type of dude? Like, fuck, I'm not going to stop. You have to kill me to stop.
Yeah, basically, I'm a pretty calm person, but in the fight, I feel like calm. Getting in there, you've just got to. I always look at it as, and my coach has already said, like, you've got to damage the opponent and get on them and push the pace. Like, you don't have a long time in there, so you've just got to make things happen. So that's why I try and just push a strong pace and try and damage my opponent.
Are you one of those people, those type of fighters who you see an opportunity in the moment as opposed to planning it?
Yeah. And
you're ready to quickly, mentally, to take the opportunity really quickly. So you got quick reflexes relative to what you see?
I think so.
What's in front of you?
I think so. I fight what's in front of me. I take the, even if it might be risky, I like to take the risk, to risk it for the biscuit, If the opportunity presents itself, I feel like you've got to take it. Otherwise, that opportunity is gone, So, I think there's going to be opportunities that I can push it and try and take him out.
Can you explain to all the non-professional fighters and about when someone tries to take you down, like in the shoot for you?
Yeah.
It's pretty dangerous if you're the person going to cop it. Like, if they're good at it and they put you on the ground, you're in trouble. But there's also danger for them too.
Yeah.
That you might uppercut them, or you could put a knee in, which you did.
The perfect for someone shooting in, their head's pretty low, so that uppercut at the middle, the knee is the good shot. Can be risky though if the knee didn't land, then it would pretty much for sure he would get me down.
So that's what I want to know, Jack. Would you go through a quick analysis, or you were so experienced, I know that I'm going to take the shot no matter what?
Yeah, I don't think it was more just, as I said, just risk it, you got to pull, on times like that, you've got to pull the trigger, and the worst thing that would have happened, the knee wouldn't have landed, he would have got a hold of me and I would have ended up on my back again, which obviously isn't ideal, but the best thing that could have happened is the knee lands flush and he goes down and he can't recover. So
during the period when you're physically recovering after, because obviously there was a long process of recovery and a number of operations or a number of surgeries, etc. You had to have. Do you sort of sit around thinking, okay, my next opponent might be looking at me saying, well, Jack likes to stand up and go hard for it, toe to toe nearly, and will be all over me like a bad suit. So I've got to somehow slow the game to takedowns, time on the floor. I've got hold of you. You can't move. Picking up points, basically.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, oh shit, I better ring someone up and get some. I know you got wrestling coaches anyway, but and by the way, congratulations, you got your black belt.
Thank you. Yep.
Straight after that.
Yeah, straight after.
By the way, how's your brother feel?
Yeah, he's good.
He's sweet.
Yeah, he's sweet. He's.
Did he say, Does he say to you, because he's a brown belt?
Yeah.
Did he say
Slow
to your
down.
coach, let's try out and see if I can get a black belt?
He will get there very soon, I think.
Yeah,
It's just timing wise.
You really have impressed your trainer, because after that he gave you the black belt. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
especially you didn't do it with the gi on. You did it in the ring. That's unreal. But sorry, do you think to yourself, do I need to do more floor training, or is it just all part of the program? You do it anyway every other day or whatever it is.
I do it anyway. It's part of the program, but it is a big focus of mine is working on the ground game. You got to work on, I guess, your weaknesses. Got to work on your weaknesses. You got to work on your strengths as well. But there's nothing worse than going into a fight and then just getting held down, and getting held down, not being able to get up. It's a pretty terrible feeling. So I just work every day, really. A lot of grappling training, how to get up, submissions, the whole lot.
And how do you feel like? I mean, obviously you're a black belt, but that's sort of slightly different to be once you're on the floor in the in the MMA game. How do you feel about your game, your ground game? Is it getting better and better?
I definitely feel like it is getting better. I feel like I can hang with the best in the world on the feet, on the ground, and that's what I'm just trying to build on. But also I don't want to compete with them on the floor. I just want to, in a perfect world, just stop them, get them strong hips, buck them off whenever they shoot, and then keep the fight standing.
Because that's a good place for you to be.
Yeah.
You're really confident.
Yeah, I feel comfortable, I feel calm, and I feel in control on the feet.
Because that brings me to sort of Shavkat. Like, I don't know if you call him out or something. Did you go on an X and have so come on, dude?
No, straight after the fight with Burns, I sort of just called him out. I thought
in the octagon.
In the octagon, I thought this is the time.
And he responded by saying, "I respect your bravery" or something like that, but I'm going to do to you what I've done to everybody else, something like that.
Yeah.
So how do you? I mean, obviously you got to get through this event in March, but how do you plan for someone like Shavkat, like and or Belal? I mean, how do you plan for that? Are you doing that, or you just take one fight at a time?
I focus on one fight at a time. Get through this fight and then keep it going. But I think, just trying to get 1% better every day in every aspect of the game. That's it. Just getting better on the floor, getting better with the striking, the whole lot. Keep getting 1% better every day.
So because that's funny you should say that, because when I was interviewing Dricus, he had already in his mind plans about after he defends his title a number of times successfully, of course, going up a division even, and duking up against Alex Pereira. So which is it's a big call. But planning like way ahead.
Yeah.
Way ahead. Do you ever get people put pressure on you to start to think that way, or is it better for you? Do you think your style just to go one transaction at a time, please? Thanks very much.
I mean, obviously having long-term goals is important, but there's no one really, who puts too much pressure on me long-term. But I like to focus fight at a time. They're big challenges, fights. You go in there fighting someone that they've put so much time and effort into this, and it all comes down to what happens on the moment.
And anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Anyone can win. Crazy things happen. So I just focus one fight at a time. See how we get. Let's get this one out of the way and then move on.
So if somehow I got announced to Shavkat and Belal were going to duke it up, who do you reckon would win out of that one?
I don't know. That's an interesting fight. Really, it's hard to gauge. I think Shavkat's shown that he's more of a vicious sort of finisher. He's got that strong finishing instinct. Belal was someone that's more going to push a pace, can hold you down, or sort of just grind out a fight. So it's a real interesting fight. I would have to think Shavkat. I think he's been on a pretty good tear, but his last fight was a bit quiet, more of a quiet fight. But you do get those. He's finished everyone, so I think Shavkat would I think he will beat him.
How important was it for you when you fought in Perth to be in front of your home crowd?
It was a dream. It was
mental. I was there. They went mental.
It was mental. Yeah, it was a dream come true as well. Even just a fight in Australia would have been incredible. The first fight in Australia in Perth. And the crowd that day were absolutely booming, We had such a big fight. Having Volk and Islam, that's a massive, pound for pound. That's the greatest fight you could have had at the time. And so the crowd just got right behind it. And then, going out there as the local guy, just and then putting on a good performance and getting a clean victory, it just was dream come true.
Yeah, and when you watched Volk fight, do you stand back? I mean, obviously he was a champion at the time. Do you stand back and watch someone like him and watch how he took that fight? Like he got in some precarious positions, but he was just getting the choke off him. He was smiling up against the wire, it was unfucking believably cool. Like it was ridiculously so Aussie.
It was
He's sort of playing with him nearly, talking to him, laughing at him. I mean, how do you feel as an Aussie? Like, and you're probably mates of his. Like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel when you watch that shit?
That was inspiring, for sure. Like the Dagestani wrestler that like nobody could really mess with him. Like if he gets you down, it's over. And Volk's he was just having a great old time. And then and then the last round finishing with Islam on his back, just absolutely wailing on him.
Another 20 seconds. Yeah, I was just I was wishing for another 20 seconds. I just reckon he would have done the job.
I think Islam had done his work for the day, and he'd clocked out, and Volk was still on. So we just need another 20 seconds. I thought Volk won. I don't know if it was the crowd, but it was inspiring just seeing like a Aussie legend like Volk stepping up weight class above pound for pound best and just putting on an absolute killer of a performance. It was inspiring sitting back there.
Bloody masterclass of entertainment too, by the way.
Yeah.
How important is it for you? I'll put it another way. How do you dial into the entertainment factor of the whole thing? Because like at the end of the day, you're getting paid. Everyone who's in that octagon gets paid to win or fight their best. Put on it, but it's about not only athletic performance, but it's also the general performance. So you are part of an entertainment factor.
Yeah.
I mean, it just happens to be one of the in my view, one of the greatest entertainment sports in the world.
Yeah.
But not just because Australians, but just generally, I love it. But that's a personal view. How do you respond to that? Like, how do you sort of play that? Like, Volk has his songs, and I think his Men at Work, or one of those songs he has coming out. How do you play into that? What do you do?
I just try and leave it to the fighting. I try and just be pretty low key, but then I want to have if it all said and done, I would just love to have a style that the fans love to watch, and a nice clean style that people like to watch. I don't really need to be the person that wants to talk a whole lot or talk bad about anyone. I just want to have a nice clean style that the fight fans enjoy.
I mean, if I was to describe it, and I'm just one person, but if I was to describe your style, I would say willing.
Yeah,
just a willing style, no backward steps. All over you. Oh, by the way, what do you think about Duplessis and the Strickland? What are you thinking about that? Where do you reckon that's going to go?
It's an interesting fight. I think it'll be pretty similar to the first one. I think Dricus will win just through more activity, more power, strength. I think it will be a similar fight. I think Strickland's very good. He's very defensively sound. He doesn't really use his feet too much. And Dricus is the sort of guy that will use his feet and he'll lunge at you. He's pretty unpredictable. But it's an interesting fight. True, those guys have very interesting styles, both of them. So it's an exciting fight.
Mate, good luck in London. That's going to be a ripper. I can't wait to watch it. And as you say, it's going to be a very exciting Sunday this weekend.
Yeah, it's
good to meet you, Jack.
Yeah, cheers, Mark. Thank you.